The morning sun spilled through the glass walls of the office like it had something to prove, catching Rowan Hale at his weakest moment, hunched over a cluttered desk with cold coffee trembling in his hand and a heart stretched too thin. He was a single father who measured life in lunchbox alarms and overdue notices, a man who had learned to survive on exhaustion and hope, and today his boss had already rewritten his schedule twice before 9. It felt like the world had decided to test how much pressure one person could take before something inside finally cracked. If you believe stories about kindness, second chances, and unexpected love, please take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Spark, because sometimes the smallest acts change everything. Rowan's days began in daylight, always in daylight, because nights were too short and mornings came without mercy. He woke before the sun to pack Milo's lunch, smoothing the crusts off sandwiches with a care that felt like prayer. Milo was 6, with a bright mind and quiet eyes that noticed when his father was tired. Rowan worked as an operations analyst in a high-rise overlooking the river, a job he had taken because it promised stability even if it stole his breath. His boss, Serena Vale, was known throughout the building as brilliant, relentless, and impossible to please. She ran meetings like clockwork and expected people to keep up, and for Rowan, keeping up meant sprinting while carrying the invisible weight of parenthood alone. Serena had earned her reputation honestly. She arrived every morning impeccably composed, her office bathed in daylight, her mind already 3 steps ahead of everyone else. She had climbed fast in a world that never waited for anyone, and she had learned to sharpen her expectations, because softness had once cost her dearly. From Rowan's desk, she seemed like a storm that never quite broke. All control and sharp focus, and yet she watched him more than he realized. She noticed the way he worked through lunch, the way he checked his phone at specific times, the way he left exactly at 5:30 no matter what, a habit that irritated her even as it intrigued her. The pressure built quietly, the way it always does. Rowan's childcare fell through on a bright Tuesday afternoon, and he spent the morning calculating favors and risks while his inbox filled with red flags. Serena added a last-minute presentation to his workload, something that required precision and calm, and he felt his chest tighten. He tried harder, pushed deeper, told himself this job mattered because Milo mattered. By midday, the office hummed with activity, sunlight bouncing off polished floors, and Rowan felt like he was underwater, moving but not breathing. What Serena did not see at first was the cost of her demands. Rowan's hands shook as he adjusted slides, not from incompetence but from the strain of being everything to someone else while trying not to disappoint the world. His past lingered in the background like a shadow. Milo's mother had left quietly, not cruelly, simply unable to stay, and Rowan had picked up the pieces without complaint. He did not ask for sympathy. He asked only for enough room to stand. The day everything changed arrived without warning, wrapped in ordinary light. The presentation went wrong, not catastrophically, but enough for Serena to feel that familiar spark of irritation. She called Rowan into her office, the glass walls offering no privacy from the bright afternoon. He stood there, shoulders squared, eyes tired, bracing for impact. What she saw then surprised her. There was no defiance, no laziness, only a man holding himself together by will alone. Something in her shifted, a crack in the armor she wore so well. As Rowan explained the numbers, the story of his effort unfolded without words, the way his voice stayed steady while his face betrayed exhaustion, the way he apologized too quickly, as if expecting disappointment. Serena felt the weight of her own history pressing against her ribs. She had once been the child of a single parent, watching a mother work herself raw to survive. She had promised never to be weak, never to let emotions blur her edge, and yet here she was, standing in a sunlit office, realizing she might be repeating a cycle she hated. The moment stretched. Rowan finished and waited. Serena moved closer, not out of anger but out of something else she could not name. The office seemed to hold its breath, daylight pouring in, the city alive below. Then, without planning, without strategy, she reached out and kissed him. It was brief, a spark more than a flame, but it carried the force of everything unsaid. It was a collision of compassion and confusion, of boundaries crossed and hearts exposed. Time snapped back into place. Serena stepped away, her composure shaken, her eyes wide with the realization of what she had done. Rowan stood frozen, the world suddenly louder, brighter, terrifyingly different. That kiss did not solve his problems or erase the strain, but it cracked open a door he had not known existed. For the first time in a long while, someone had seen him not as a role or a resource, but as a human being worth reaching for. The days that followed were careful, measured in daylight conversations and unspoken questions. Serena adjusted expectations without announcing it, shifting deadlines, asking how things were going with a sincerity that felt new. Rowan found himself breathing easier, his work improving not because he feared failure but because he felt supported. He still left at 5:30, still packed lunches and read bedtime stories, but the knot in his chest loosened. The office changed too, subtly, as kindness rippled outward in small ways. Serena wrestled with herself in the quiet moments. She had built her life on control, on the belief that feelings were liabilities. Yet that kiss had reminded her of something essential she had buried.